Thank you, Stephanie. Very nice as always. Any veterans out there? No veterans? Nowhere? I always, whenever I hear the national anthem sang, I always think about a military base. 8 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock at night, the colors went up, the colors went down, and no one moved. Even leaves didn't blow on the grass. It was just dead calm, dead silent. God help the person that did move during the colors. And I remember a couple of gunnery sergeants having a little chat with me afterwards, and about the third time I learned, but I think you gentlemen both remember that. So I wish I could have you all have a seat, but feel free to use the blacktop sidewalk, whatever you're comfortable. Other than that, you'll have to remain standing. Our first speaker is a true friend of the city of Auburn. He's not an Auburnian. I believe he's a native of Syracuse, but he represents the city of Auburn in the United States Congress. He's done many, many great things for Auburn, and I know that he has many more things on his plate that he wants to accomplish. One of the biggest things that he has accomplished to the date, he has every one of the New York representatives to sign on to the Harriet Tubman bill, and hopefully after hopefully before this Congress ends their session, we get that through as a federal legislation, and we look to him to carry on that mission. So without saying anything else, Congressman Dan Maffei.
Thank you, Mayor Quill and Assemblymen and distinguished guests. I am very, very glad to be here, and actually I am honored. I've only represented Auburn for a short time, but of course I know it well, having grown up in central New York, and the Seward House right there is one of my favorite places in the entire world. This is a tremendous city, and I've just representing a short amount of time, you learn something, that Auburn is indeed a very, very special place. It is where progressivism and patriotism truly meet. This city has produced leaders for 2 centuries. Military leaders, great, brave people, business leaders, and of course leaders in terms of civil rights, the Underground Railroad, women's liberation, abolitionism, and all of the kind of progressive movements that have made America great. We are right now sitting in a city of tremendous history. And when we think about Founders Day and how important it is, I think it's very, very important to reflect on today and what these historical figures mean today. And that's why I'm glad that this year the festivities are dedicated to Harriet Tubman. Because Harriet Tubman, the more you study about her, the more you will learn that the lessons of her life and the way she led her life are just as relevant, if not more relevant today, even than when she was alive. She was absolutely dedicated to this country, to the idea of freedom. She led hundreds of enslaved people out of bondage, and she said she would have led thousands more if only they knew they were slaves. She then settled here in Auburn, New York, a place she loved. She loved everything about this place, the apples and the strawberries. And she was dedicated to it. She founded a senior citizen home here. She got very involved in the women's movement, and she was very good friends with William Seward. But also, she continued to do everything she could, and when the Civil War broke out, she became an agent for the North, and was eventually, when she did die, buried with full military honors for her service. The lessons she offers us today, though, I think are the same as she was trying to tell some of those people who were literally enslaved back then, which is, if we really want to break any of the bonds that bind us, and I think about the bonds that are of our own making, those of hatred, then we're going to have to acknowledge it, and we're going to have to be willing to look to Harriet Tubman's example, because she never hated anybody. She was free, both in terms of not being a slave, but also in terms of her own heart. And so she added to this extremely special heritage that we all have, anyone who comes to Auburn and enjoys it, but particularly those native Auburnians and people who've made it their home. So I'm very, very honored to just be your congressman, and wish you a happy Founders Day, and and just again very, very glad that the weather, as always, is 75 degrees and sunny year round. Thank you very much.